All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're watching the Baseline Facetime Podcast. Make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Episode 11 of the Baseline Facetime Podcast. And, so not only, we are now 2 episodes into double digits. How are we feeling over there?
I'm pretty excited, mainly because, you guys aren't in the room with us, but we got the Pelicans and Jazz game on.
That's right. That's
First game to kick off the NBA returning, so I'm excited about that.
That's right.
Exciting stuff.
Exciting stuff. In this one?
Yeah. Which horse you in the race?
The reason I'm going to take the Pelicans is because they need it more. They're the ones fighting for a playoff spot.
I want them more, but I think the Jazz are just a little bit better equipped.
Yeah.
I want the Pelicans to win.
We'll see. Yeah. So we got that on, and man, I'm excited. This is our first this is episode 11, but it's our first show back.
During the NBA season
in full swing. We started our podcast in the middle of a pandemic.
Not the best idea to start a podcast about basketball because sports is canceled, but
but we worked out the kinks through that time. We were able to have some good shows. If you haven't seen any of them or been able to listen to any of them, I suggest you go back and watch. Yeah.
What other game is on today?
The Battle for LA in Orlando is on today. How you feeling?
LA supremacy out there. We're gonna see who the better LA team is. Personally, I believe, as a Laker fan, I have to roll with the Lakers. I think they're gonna win. AD's playing. Most importantly, I will say this about the Clippers: they have a very in-depth group. They're very tough, but so are the Lakers.
Yep, you see that? So Zion's got peace on the back of his jersey. They're letting the athletes choose if they want an expression. Of equality or things like that on the back of their jerseys. Zion's got peace. Pretty cool.
I like that. Our league is the league of the NBA is very good for, letting their voices be heard on the NFL and stuff like that.
Absolutely. They're doing a good job, and we're going to get into some talk. Obviously today we see some virtual fans on the screen.
That's
pretty
different.
neat. But again.
Do they have to pay for those?
I think so. I don't know.
That's kind of ridiculous.
Or maybe it's like a spot that you can get a bid on. I think that's what I saw on one of the Sixers pages. Yeah. But yeah, we're going to get into it today. Obviously, we're going to talk some NBA news. We're going to talk some scrimmage action. Obviously, we've seen some scrimmages played over the last week and a half. We're going to
We're going to talk about the JR incident?
We will talk about that. We're going to get into some things just to watch, things that you and I are looking for over these 8 seeding games before the playoffs get started here in a couple weeks. And even some predictions that we're going to have based on the seeding and even some playoff matches that we are looking forward to seeing. But like we said, Jazz Pelicans tipping off right now as we're recording. It'll be up, obviously, later than that. Lakers Clippers tonight.
Rudy Gobert on the spin. That's good.
Some good games tomorrow. Good games tomorrow coming up. But again, props to the NBA. I don't know if you saw a couple days ago, once again coming back with 0 positive tests for the coronavirus inside the bubble. 0 positive tests.
They created a safe haven in Disney.
Right. That's right. You see who the Knicks got?
No. Oh, Mike D'Antoni?
No.
Wait.
Tom Thibodeau.
Oh, Tom Thibodeau. My God. I know what you meant. No, at first I said no because I'm like, they didn't get any new players. I was so confused.
So what do you think about Tom Thibodeau?
Tom Thibodeau. He was with the Bulls at one point, right?
Yep.
He helped create the Timber Bulls. Yep. Remember that time in Minnesota? He is a good coach. He's very defense-oriented. So, nothing wins championships more than defense. So, I think it'll be a good thing for the Knicks. I think it'll help RJ develop and help it get his defense right, because he's already got offense pretty damn on lock. So,
Yeah, I think Tom Thibodeau's a good pickup for the Knicks. Obviously, they can't go any more south than what they've been. So, why not try him out?
Man, listen, I liked the former Knicks coach. I thought he was really good. I just think that he just didn't have much tools to work with, especially coming off of, when you're a Knicks fan, coming off of the Isaiah Thomas as a GM, having a terrible owner. I probably just got banned from MSG for saying that. But please sell James Dolan. I'm not even a Knicks fan. I just feel the Knicks pain.
Sure. You've lived here too.
Yeah.
Right? You've lived here your whole life.
You understand their pain of not having a championship since, I think my dad's in his 60s, so they haven't won since he was 13.
Wow.
Which is crazy to think about.
That is.
I think the Knicks got a good coach, but most importantly, they're going to need more than a good coach. They need players.
Of course. He's a good coach. I think he was coach of the year at one point with the Bulls. They had a 60-win season.
I think that was Derrick Rose's MVP season.
A 60-win season. Yeah, they're the 1 seed. and then he got hurt against Philly, and Philly took him out as the 8 seed.
Weren't they up that game
D-Rose
too?
went down. I don't recall. Yeah,
I could have sworn that they were up and
Sixers
there was no
ended up
need for
getting
him
the
to be in
series
there.
though. Yeah. But yeah, and then another interesting note on the bubble before we get into some things that we're looking for as the NBA restarts. Lou Williams.
Yeah, so you wanted to tell me something about this earlier. I don't know exactly what Lou Williams did or what happened.
I did. So you know how they have these restrictions and things in the bubble, right?
Yeah, of course.
So Lou Williams left the bubble for a family something.
Oh, wait a minute. I know what this is.
Right?
I know what this is now.
And then there was footage or something. I don't know exactly how it came about.
He just liked the food, man.
He just liked the food. So he was seen at a strip club in Atlanta, I believe.
Yes.
And now he's facing like a 10-day quarantine. Obviously not playing tonight. Probably going to miss a game or two after that. I don't know how long he's been in the quarantine back in the bubble, but interesting. He said he went and just got food or picked up food or something like that.
He said he liked the wings there.
Yeah, and then I saw some pictures the other day. Someone posted like a picture of like a chicken finger wing platter.
I'm glad
or
I
something.
remembered what it was right before you were about to tell me, because I was like, wait a minute, I heard something similar. No, honestly, in Lou Williams' defense, he probably wasn't just there for the girls. He probably was there for the food, because like, think about it. Whenever you go to a place that's like that you just have a good atmosphere in, right? We have this weird tendency to assume that it's better than it actually is, even though it's pretty average. Like, for a strip club, do you really think we're gonna have quality food?
I have no idea.
Oh, he's just happy.
Just funny how he got caught doing that, and he's paying the consequences. 10-day quarantine for leaving and doing that is nothing to, Well,
I don't think it'll affect the Clippers too much.
No, we'll
because
see.
they have such a good team.
We'll see. At least he didn't do it in the playoffs, right?
Like, if it was Patrick Beverly, on the other hand, I'd be a lot more happier.
Yeah. So have you caught any
monster.
scrimmages? Have you caught any scrimmages?
I unfortunately didn't, and I did see the clip of J.R. Smith in Orlando, and seeing that made me realize, why did we pick him up?
The one where he like put the moves on someone, ISO ball, hit it off the side of the backboard?
Well, it was just a terrible play because he's ISOing when he doesn't need to. Most importantly, you could tell he's not the same J.R. Smith when he was with Denver. He's not the same sixth man of the year when he was the Knicks. But yet he's still doing those moves as if he is. And maybe I'm wrong and someone can correct me, but don't do that. That wasn't the best thing that could have came from that situation, and just fell. And it didn't even hit rim. It didn't hit backboard. It hit the side of the backboard. And when I saw that, I said, no.
He had some good moments down there.
He
along
better
with
be the
Dion Waiters.
Scalabrine of our team and just never play a minute in the finals.
Oh, he's playing. He's playing. He and Dion Waiters both. They've had some good moments. I've been able to catch some scrimmage action. A lot of talk about the Nuggets with Jokic coming out and playing point guard that first game. Bol starting at like small forward. They went big boy lineup.
They went very big. I mean, Jokic was very heavy before this whole quarantine. So it makes me really question. He had decent ball handling, but has he worked on it more in order to be a point guard?
Yeah, we'll see. And we'll see how much they actually like run with that. I don't know how much they did. I know he started, but we'll see how much they use that over these, seeding games and into the playoffs. Bol has been impressive because if you remember, he didn't play a minute in the NBA prior to this. He kind of came into the bubble as his debut, and so we'll see what he can do over these next few games. But yeah, let's get into some things that you and I would like to see. So as we know, they are calling these 8 games that are starting tonight on July 30th, 8 seeding games that each team is going to play. That we know there's 22 teams down there. We know there's going to be 8 from the East, 8 from the West here in about 2 weeks. So 6 teams are going to be heading out. We'll get into that. But kind of just 8 things that you and I both are looking for.
Okay.
All right, and we're going to count them down from like what we deemed.
1, 2, 3, and
we're going to go 8 through 1. So like 8 being least amount of importance or what we're looking for, and 1 being the most.
Okay.
And I'm going to let you start it off. So coming in at number 8, in the spirit of 8s, we're going to do 8 things we're looking for.
8 things that I'm looking for. In this season, it kind of goes in with yours, with the whole small ball offense. Yours is how are they going to do that? How are they going to perfect that? But my personally is I'm looking at the psychology behind it. Because you have the Houston Rockets. They have 2 alpha dogs on that team, and they both need the ball in their hands to score. So how are they going to coexist in a situation like that? Because I think it was last year Harden was constantly running pick and rolls to keep his team above water and to get them to the playoffs. And it was working, but in a situation like that, when you're in the playoffs, the defense is going to know where you're going to go every time. So that's obviously not going to work. Obviously, it has helped, but how well they're going to blend together chemistry wise, and are they willing, and who's going to take the clutch shot in the final moments? Is it going to be Westbrook or is it going to be Harden?
That's true. So how are those minds going to coexist is one thing you're looking for, ahead of the playoffs. So not into the playoffs, but ahead of that, like how that's going to mesh. Coming in at number 7, same team, and kind of what you noted on. So this Rockets small ball lineup. I'm very, very intrigued to see how this team plays prior to the playoffs. How are these seeding games going to work out for the Rockets? And clearly you are looking forward to that too. I'm curious. I mean, it's so different from every other team out there, what they do. I mean, they run such a small lineup. I think their tallest one is like 6'7", 6'8" out there. They have PJ Tucker playing center. So
really?
It's gonna
You're kidding.
Yeah, small ball. And we're gonna see how that's gonna work. Obviously very different. They live and die by the 3. They live and die by James Harden getting fouls and getting buckets. It'll be interesting to see.
And that's the coach's the 7 seconds. He was the coach of the 7 seconds or less Suns. What's
D'Antoni?
Mike D'Antoni. So not just including the small ball too, because I didn't realize how short their lineup is. But like, if you ever see Mike D'Antoni with the 7 seconds or less Suns, they always got, I believe, to the second round, maybe the third round, but they never really made it far. So I guess that's a if you want to know the future, go back and look at history, and it'll tell you. You know what I mean? So I think we'll see a prediction. If I had to guess, would be the Rockets out in the second round.
Okay.
If I had to say something about that.
All right. What you got coming in at number 6?
Well, at number 6, what I find very interesting is how well the Clippers bench is going to play a big role with in the playoffs, because they are such. If you look at their team, they're very, very tough with Patrick Beverley. PG, who's a very good defensive player. You have Kawhi. There's 3 defensive anchors. So how much are they going to mess up people like the Houston Rockets, who mainly focuses on offense? How are they going to disrupt them? How are they going to do that? So that to me, and I can't name another. Oh, Lou Williams was also on that team too. Obviously not playing.
So they have Lou Williams and Montrezl Harrell off the bench, who are both averaging, I believe, 18 plus.
That is absurd for a bench.
And I think that is the first time in history that that's happened. There's been other teams that have been close, and Lou Williams has been on those teams as well. But that's pretty good. Yeah.
That's what that was. I was looking at that. So for you?
Yep. So the number 6, number 5, coming in on things to watch, things to look for over these next few games. The new look 76ers starting lineup and how that's going to play out. So, previously, and they have obviously a tremendously talented team coming in to the season. The starting lineup was Ben Simmons, Josh Richardson, the newly acquired Josh Richardson, Tobias Harris, Al Horford, who we picked up, and
how do you feel about Al Horford?
We'll get into that. And now, because of Horford's struggles and just some chemistry things going on in that locker room and with the Sixers, the young phenom, I like to call him, Shake Milton, is starting at point guard. Ben Simmons making the transition to the 4, Tobias 3, J. Rich 2, and Embiid obviously holding it down at the center position. Just kind of how is that going to play out for the Sixers? Is that going to be the lineup we see go into the playoffs, or is this just a test? Like, what's going to happen?
As a Sixers fan, I'm curious for you, because what adjustments would you make to that lineup, or who would you rotate out?
So I right now, I like the way it looks. I do think, even though if we're going to go with Ben at the 4, he's a guy that needs the ball in his hands, right? And he makes plays. And, depending on how well he can be a playmaker at the 4 position, I'm okay with it. If he's, not going to have the ball in his hands as much, and Shake's going to make mistakes and Shake's going to have troubles, then, maybe we have to go back to the Horford at the 4 and try and ride it out. But, I think if Shake can do it, and he's played some really good basketball. He hung, I think, 38 or 39 on the Clippers, before the hiatus. I'm excited, and there's some good talk around Philly. They've looked really good in scrimmages. Ben Simmons has been the best player on the floor in 2 out of the 3 scrimmage games by far. Tobias has looked good. So that's what I'm curious to see. And obviously, with Ben moving to that 4 spot, he's got an opportunity to shoot. He's got an opportunity to post up in the corner and shoot the ball. Is he going to shoot it? We'll see. So that's something to look for moving forward. What you got?
So I guess for this one, because we kind of briefly talked about it off camera, would be how the seeding works. Because if you look at, some people have a chance to potentially make the playoffs. And some people who are already playing or who already made the playoffs, their seeding would change, and that determines who they're going to play. So you brought to my attention, if Houston goes up to the 5th seed, I believe, they'd be playing the Lakers?
They could play the Lakers in the first round. Or
Right.
second round, sorry.
So, and now if they stay the same, Houston will now be facing the Clippers
In the second round.
In the
if they
second
make
round,
it, yeah.
And for me personally, I would love to see them versus the Clippers, mainly because as a Lakers fan, I could see that being dragged on to a 7-game series just because of how
Just because of nonsense.
Just because of nonsense, yeah, with the Houston Rockets. So I would much rather see the Houston Rockets stay exactly where they are and give the Clippers waste more energy trying to defeat the Clippers and having the Clippers be more drained getting ready for the Lakers. So that's what I would rather see.
Okay. All right, coming in at number 3. And I've got his high school jersey on right now as we're watching the Pelicans play. And the Pelicans are one of those teams on the outside looking in, but just by a little bit. They are tied with Portland right now for the 9th seed in the West. And can they sneak in? Can Zion Williamson? Everybody knows who that is. Everybody knows the name. Everybody knows he's a walking highlight reel. And so is Brandon Ingram with that dunk right there.
Yeah.
Can Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram lead this team to the playoffs? That's something to watch.
I think, in my opinion, not yet. I'm a big fan of the Pelicans. I'm a big Zion fan, and Lonzo Ball fan especially. I think they're made to be a dynamic duo. Like they're just they complement each other's playing styles so well. I think Portland has more experience.
Yep.
And they have just a little bit more talent ready, and they've been to the Western Conference last year?
Either the
It was the year
semis,
Golden
maybe
State,
Western Conference semis.
Because then they play Golden State in the Western Conference?
Maybe.
It was one of the...
Well, because he took out that shot with over PG Damian. That was last year.
Okay.
I think that was in the first round, so they made it to the second round.
Gotcha. But I feel like they have a little bit more experience, and they have a veteran, Carmelo Anthony, who's a little savvy and set a curse word grabbing a rebound recently. I don't know if you saw that.
Of course, he always does. So, yeah, that'll be something to watch. Who is going – and we're going to get to that, here in a few moments. But, man, what's the West going to shape up like? Who's going to get in? So we'll get to that here later on. What you got? Your second most important thing to look for.
Is the East going to be as big of a battle as the West? That's the real question, because when we look at it in history, we will always say Michael Jordan at that particular time played in a very tough conference. But if you think about in the 90s, the West was on fire, the East was on fire, and we haven't seen it like that in a very long time. Yeah. So I think it'll be competitive in the East, but from my guess, looking at the stat sheet, it's going to go down to your probably Milwaukee and your 76ers, if not Toronto.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it will. There's 2 dominant teams in the West. There's 1 dominant team in the East.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but can we make the argument saying that the 2 dominant teams in LA are so dominant that the other teams in the West are higher ranked up if they were in the East? You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's how I would look at it.
Well, that's going to bring us to the number 1 thing to watch for over these 8 games, and that is, will a third team in the West make a move? Will a third team in the West get hot? I want to see. This is something I want to see. Mm-hmm. I want to see, whether it be the Nuggets or the Jazz or the Rockets or the Thunder or one of those teams get hot over these 8 games. Maybe one of them goes 7-1 or 8-0, and they're looking sharp. Can one of them emerge and possibly, again, later on in the playoffs, can one of them stop the LA battle for the Western Conference? Or, is it just going to be that? Are we destined for a Western Conference Finals matchup of the Los Angeles Clippers and the Los Angeles Lakers?
Yes, 100%. They're just so much more better than the teams in the West, and it is absurd because the talent in the West is still pretty damn crazy. Because let's take the Denver Nuggets for example, right? They're a good team, and if you take their record and somehow put them in the East, they would be somewhere between 3. Like they would move up a big jump. But if we see a team move up, we could already cross off the Sacramento Kings. They don't have enough talent. We can cross off the Spurs. They're I would say rebuilding. Because they're still trying to get away from the whole Timmy Duncan era. Phoenix, They just have Devin Booker, who's wasting his time there.
Well,
let's be real.
if someone's gonna make a move, it's
It
one
would
of
be
those
Portland
3
and
through
New
6
Orleans.
teams.
That would be it. If
Well,
they
no,
were to-
I mean a team that can potentially do some damage in the playoffs. So that's going to come from either the 3 through 6 seeds, the Nuggets, the Jazz, the Thunder, or the Rockets. Maybe.
Wait, I don't understand the question. Wait, what was your question again?
So I want to see a third team emerge in the West and make an impact.
Oh, besides LA and them.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about teams that could potentially move up and get the seed to get into the playoffs. Oh, okay, that's where I was lost.
So just a third team that's gonna, or are we guaranteed an LA battle for the Western Conference Finals? What I want to see is someone give a fighting chance.
No, I don't see that at all. Not at all. When I'm looking at this, no.
I'm saying that's what I want to see. That's all. All right, so now we get to get into that. We get to get into some predictions and what we think is going to happen, our final standings over these 8 games. Again, we're not going to get into the playoffs and deep into that because we'll get into that when that time is here. Mm-hmm. But how do we envision the regular season shaping out? And we kind of already answered this. Can Zion lead a playoff push?
Can he lead a playoff push?
So what they have to do, they are 3.5 games back of the 8th spot right now. There's a few teams battling for that spot, as we've mentioned.
Is Memphis playing at all or no?
So everybody has 8 games.
Okay, everybody there has 8 games. Okay.
Yep, and I think they have a game together.
Okay.
And then if the 9 seed is within 4 games or less, I believe there will be 1 game play-in. There will be a 1-game play-in between the 9 and the 8 seed for the 8 seed in the playoffs.
Okay.
So can Zion do it? We'll see. Can the Pelicans team make a run?
I think the Pelicans need to develop more. But overall, you got to be pretty damn happy with what you see in New Orleans if you're a New Orleans Pelicans fan. Because they have a bright future. Mm-hmm. But in all honesty, I think Portland's going to come out of nowhere.
Okay, so you think Portland is going to get the 8 seed in the West?
I think Portland's really going to get the 8 seed,
Okay. Yeah. And I think I'm on board with you, and that's what I want. I mean, as much as I want to see Zion, make a run, there's something different about Lillard.
Not just Lillard. He has C.J. McCollum, Carmelo Anthony. They had a pretty decent center. He hurt
Whiteside.
his leg. Yeah. Oh, Whiteside's there now?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're destined. I think that when we look at this, and if we just take it at stat-wise, and with the 8 games, we instantly know who the better team is out of there. Scratch off just because Memphis is there. That's just how the season worked out for them. They were lucky. Mm-hmm. But overall, the better team is Portland. Mm-hmm. They deserve the 8 seed. I know they're going to get it. And if they don't get it, I'll be damn surprised. And this is pre-recorded, so we'll look back on this in history and see if I'm right.
It's Dame time, baby. We'll see what he can do. Orlando time. And that's not the only thing going on in the West. Not just a battle for the 8 seed, but even as we mentioned, there's a battle for that 3, 4, 5, 6 range. And where will the Rockets end up? Are they going to have a second-round matchup with the Lakers or the Clippers, or will they get knocked out before that? Because right now they are the same exact record as the Oklahoma City Thunder. Surprisingly enough, they've done a good job this year.
With Chris Paul.
And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And, they've really came to play. So how do you see – here's what we're going to do. We're going to go the top 6 in the West, and then we'll talk about the top 6 in the East. How do you see the West shaking out over these 8 games? So, obviously, Lakers are going to be 1, Clippers are going to be 2. We get that pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Oh, like who's going to rotate from their
standings? What's it going to be? Right now, it's Lakers, Clippers, Nuggets, Jazz, Thunder, Rockets. Do you see any changes? And we see how many games back each team is.
Houston's going to go up 1. Dallas might go up 1 seed. But overall, I think that's pretty much – and Portland advancing, of course. And that's about it. I think that's what we're going to see.
Okay. Yeah, I think – yeah. I think we'll see a – although, now that I think about it, if Houston holds their spot and the Clippers hold their spot and we see that in the second round, get your popcorn ready.
I'm going to be ready for that.
Those defensive monsters against
an
James Harden
offensive team
and Russell Westbrook, and that
it's
offense.
Basically the unmovable object meets the unstoppable force. Is that how that saying goes?
I think so.
Yeah. So that's basically what it's going to be. And I'm going to take your chair over there. I'm going to have it right in front of the TV with my popcorn.
That would be a good matchup. That's what I want to see actually. Mm-hmm. I want to see Houston, at the 6. Against the Nuggets at the 3, and then the winner of that would end up playing the Clippers
As much
in
as
the
we would like
second
to see
round.
that, I think we also have to be realistic and understand that Houston's probably going to get a couple W's in advance. Like, they're going to get a W.
Like, they might not get out of the first round, you're saying. Is that what you're saying?
No, like, they'll get a W and they'll
In the
advance.
first round?
Yeah, like, them staying at the 6th seed, they'll definitely advance to the 5th seed. I could just see it.
Oh, you think they might outperform the Thunder in these 8 games?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Even though as much as how entertaining what you just described would be.
It would be entertaining. All right, now let's transition to the East. That's enough about the West.
Mm-hmm.
Final thought on the West, and something that I keep thinking about. Will there be a team possibly to interrupt an LA showdown? I don't know.
No, not at all.
All right.
They're just such good teams.
Mm-hmm. Eastern Conference. Let's talk about the top 6 over there. There's not as much movement at the bottom there. So we've got
Wow, you and Indiana have the same exact record. That's
the
crazy.
Magic and the Wizards really vying for the 8th seed. And that's about it at the bottom. So we're going to talk about the top 6. The Nets are at 7, but they are a mess. So yeah, what are your thoughts on the East, and who is your biggest threat to the Milwaukee Bucks?
To the Milwaukee Bucks?
Yeah, long term.
Long term? I want to say Philly, but in all honesty, I think they're still coming off of a championship high. I think Toronto. Because, Fred VanVleet played his lights out the finals.
Mm-hmm.
They still have, what's his name, Kyle Lowry. I'm not a big fan of him, but I got to give credit when credit's due. PC, what's his name?
Pascal Siakam?
Yeah, Siakam, that guy. And that's pretty good. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Obviously, they have a 46 wins over 18 losses, which is pretty damn impressive for the Eastern Conference.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's gonna be more Milwaukee and Toronto. I mean, I would like to see Milwaukee and the Boston Celtics. Me personally.
Okay. In the well, it depends on where the Celtics land. That could be an Eastern Conference Finals matchup.
Yeah.
Although, yeah, that could be an Eastern Conference Finals matchup. Boston's looks pretty secure at the 3 seed. They got 2.5 games on either side, either moving up or moving back.
I think Miami's gonna give you guys trouble.
Yes, so that is a matchup we might end up seeing. So the thing with the Sixers and the Pacers have the same record.
Yeah.
The Pacers are down Domantas Sabonis. They got some other injuries and other issues going on, and they play the very.
So you guys just took the 5th seed easily. Then,
I think so, and they play on Saturday, so that'll be the first game of these 8, and hopefully the Sixers will come out on top, get up to that 5 seed, and then that could potentially lead to a Sixers Heat matchup in the first round, and we know the storyline there with Jimmy Butler, kind of ditching Philly. Still upset about that.
They're a very tough team.
The Heat are tough.
That.
It's Jimmy Butler. What do you expect?
They're the LA Clippers of the East.
Yeah.
That's basically how I could look at it as. They're just a very tough, gritty team. I mean, what else do you expect when their GM is what's his name? He used to coach the Lakers.
Riley?
He drafted D Wade. What's his name?
Riley?
Pat Riley. Yeah. Pat Riley is just known to not only be a great coach, but just have a great mind for basketball and understand defense, wins championships.
Yeah. So that could potentially be a very intriguing matchup. Man, there's some good possibilities. Even an Eastern Conference Finals matchup again, like we had mentioned, a rematch of the Bucks and the Raptors in the Eastern Conference Finals.
I think the Bucks would finally get over the hill because they don't have Kawhi that time.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's the thought for most people, around the league, is that could be an opportunity for them to do that. So I'm going to go, again, in this top 6 in the East, I am going to go, of course, Bucks are number 1. They're going to be number 1. The Raptors are pretty much locked in at 2. The Celtics, I'm going to stay with the 3, and then the Heat and the Sixers, either or 4-5 matchup, and potentially would be a Sixers-Bucks matchup in the second round, and a Celtics-Raptors matchup. That is a good second-round matchup. That's likely going to happen.
That would be very entertaining.
That's a good matchup right there.
Because the Celtics are pretty deep, right? Because they still have Jaylen Brown, right? They still have Jason Tatum.
Gordon Hayward's playing well.
Is he?
Yes.
Okay, because I remember literally the first game in the season when he injured his leg, I saw it. Who else do they have? Because I'm drawing a blank.
Well, they got Kemba
Walker. Yeah, so, I mean, they're just as stacked as any team out there.
Yep. They're good. That would be a good, intriguing matchup as well.
Can we just acknowledge the fact that Brooklyn's not even going to make it anywhere?
Yeah. Yeah.
But next year,
likely going to play the Raptors first, and not going to be pretty. Yeah. So, speaking of matchups, not just first round, maybe not even just second round, but what is a matchup, we've talked about it a little bit, that you want to see in the playoffs?
Oh, I think we're just going to go right back to the Houston and the LA Clippers.
Okay.
That's hands down what I want to see more so than anything. And I guess for an Eastern Conference team, it would be probably Toronto and Brooklyn. Just because I want to see, because I'm not really a fan of Kyrie Irving, I want to see him get frustrated out there.
Kyrie's not playing.
Oh, he's not?
No.
Like at all?
No.
Oh, so goodbye, Brooklyn. Never mind.
They have nobody. It's Karis LeVert's team now.
No, he actually is nice.
He's very good. He's very good. Yeah, I think, like you said, Houston against either LA team, if they can make it to the second round.
East, it would be Miami and Philly.
Yeah.
That would be the the games I'd be excited for.
And that's a first-round matchup that, again, get your popcorn ready. That'd be a good one. I can just picture it now. Jimmy Butler teasing Ben Simmons to shoot the corner three, egging him on to shoot it.
Don't cover him. He can't shoot it.
You know Jimmy would be talking smack out there, man. Other matchups that could be good. Again, there's going to be some sort of combination of these teams in the West. The Nuggets, the Jazz, the Rockets, and the Thunder. Some of those matchups would be pretty cool.
You know, I think it is, too, what makes the LA team so exciting. Not just because they're good. It's the first time in, I think, we've ever had both teams in one city be phenomenal. And and especially when you grow up, like, you have to bleed a certain color for your team, whether it be the Clippers white and red or Lakers, a purple and gold. It's a big deal, especially for the city of LA, because do you know what it is like having like probably like siblings? One has a Clipper jersey, and one has Lakers jersey, sitting on the couch bragging, and then that's gonna go out throughout history, being like, "Yo, I was there for that. I was, I saw the Clippers get smacked by the Lakers." Hopefully,
those are good teams, bro. And it's interesting. Even I just thought about this today. A Clippers-Lakers. Now, hear me out. A Clippers-Lakers matchup. Whether it be tonight, whether it be in the Western Conference Finals, which is like a 90% chance to happen, it seems like. So both of those teams play in the same arena currently in the Staples Center.
Right.
So there's home court games, but it's like there's not really home court advantage during those games. That's the only matchup where it's kind of the same in the bubble. So they're on the same court.
Okay.
They're sharing the same court. There's still not home court advantage. You know what I mean? Like Lakers, Clippers in the Staples Center, there's not home court advantage. Lakers, Clippers in the Orlando bubble, there's no home court advantage. There's no fans,
Right.
So it's like it's the only matchup where that doesn't make an impact. Where, you take the Sixers, for example, who have been phenomenal at home this year. I think they've lost 2 games at home. They're terrible on the road. And
so you think that's going to take away the factor of home, like the whole idea of home court advantage?
Yeah, and especially, but like it doesn't matter in the LA case because there's never home court advantage between those two teams anyway. In a sense, like physically being, you know what I mean?
It's
they
weird.
Play on the same court.
I gotta tell you a funny story actually. I think it was like 2K13 I was playing, or 2K14. I got drafted by the Lakers, so I picked the Lakers. I got traded there, and then we played a road game to the LA Clippers. And I noticed at Staples Center, I was like, "Oh, wait a minute, they play in like." It took me a minute to resonate with me, and then and going back to what I was about to say, I guess you're right. It does kind of cancel it out, but at the same time, then you'll really know by nature who the better team is, because momentum makes a big difference. Because I think it was in the LA series when they're up going against Portland like 2000, like when they were down by so much and that crowd got so loud, because your home crowd gets loud for you. Not having that will probably affect the player, if I had to assume.
Yeah, so I think that's pretty cool. Just how, man, especially in the LA case,
you're truly going to know who the better team is.
Yes, and you're not going to be able to say, "Oh, we didn't have home court," or "We didn't have this," or
Anyone who loses is going to put an asterisk next to something. You know what I mean? They're just going to be like, "Well, we didn't have that," So it's like you could, like any case in the finals. It's like, well, Michael Jordan didn't play against 3 All-Stars. He only played against 2.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everyone's going to find something to complain about.
Yeah. Anything else you want to see, over these 8 games or any matchups?
I would like to see if the Portland Trailblazers make it. No, they will make it. I could say that confidently. When they go up against the Lakers, I just want to see. It'll be interesting because I think that's the first time Carmelo Anthony and LeBron James are really going to play each other in the playoffs, right? Because I can't name another time.
Yeah, of course. Because unless
he didn't make it in the playoffs with the Knicks because they lost to the Celtics. and LeBron was with Miami, so that would be kind of cool, even though Melo's over the hill.
Yeah. Yeah, if they get into that 8th spot, we'll see that.
Bring something to our attention that I never noticed before. Because no one ever thinks about that. They never played against each other.
Yeah. I mean, just, Kobe and LeBron never did either, as much as we all wanted to see that, right?
Do you remember those commercials of the puppets?
Puppets.
Oh, I gotta show you. It's when they all thought Kobe and LeBron were gonna play each other in the finals. But LeBron got beat by the Celtics, but they had like oh god, I hit my mic. They had like little puppets going back and forth, and Kobe's not trying to entertain him, and LeBron's being like annoying. I'll show it to you later. It's
that's
classic.
Funny. That's funny. I think I might have seen it. So yeah, how about a player, real quick, as we finish up? How about one player that you want to like give a little challenge to? So you want to say, man, step up for your team kind of thing. I'll put you on the spot.
One player to step up for your I know one person you would say, and I'll be surprised if you don't pick him.
Okay. Go ahead.
One player to step JR.
Okay.
I want him to step up and be consistent. I don't want him to lose track of time. I want him to really understand not to take it as like a joke or LeBron just hooked me up with a contract and I get money again.
I'm a Laker.
Because it's very hard to take J.R. Smith seriously when you have a Supreme tattoo on your leg.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Yeah.
That's a good pick, and it's like I didn't expect you to say that, because he's not.
I was originally going to pick James Harden, but then I had to really think about it and give you a serious answer.
He's not, because J.R. obviously he's going to be a part of what LA is able to do, but he's not like the vital piece of. That's an interesting.
Well, because we had to pick him up to replace Avery Bradley.
Yeah.
And I'm so upset that Avery Bradley's not playing.
Yeah, that's a big loss.
Yeah, it is.
Who am I gonna pick?
All right. If you don't pick him, I'll be very surprised.
Oh, I know who I'm gonna pick. Now I know who I'm gonna pick.
Okay.
It's got to be the same guy. I'm gonna pick my man, Al Horford.
There you go. I knew it instantly.
So, let me get on my soapbox here for a second. Al Horford, we picked him up, huge contract, hasn't done jack. Misses about 2-3 layups a game. It's wild, dude.
I remember wild. I came over watching I think we went to go get McDonald's after the Philly game we were watching. I think they were playing the Celtics and it went into overtime or something. Al Horford kept missing shots. It was ridiculous. I was like, wow, that's crazy.
He's had a rough year. He's had moments. He's looked okay during the scrimmages the last couple weeks. Man, but if I could give one challenge to someone, it would definitely be Al Horford. We need you. The biggest issue... And you might remember this, the biggest issue the Sixers had last year, and the reason we did not beat the Toronto Raptors...
Was it rebounding?
...was anytime Joel Embiid was out of the game.
Really?
We were absolutely destroyed.
Was it because of the boards or just because Embiid wasn't there to score?
Everything. Or was it both? So, one, Embiid scoring. Mm-hmm. 2, we didn't have a good backup center.
Okay.
3, rebounding, and just Embiid's presence on the court as a defender, as a lockdown guy in the paint, that kind of thing. I mean, Toronto went to town. I think, I could be wrong, but I want to say while Embiid was on the floor, we beat them by like 100 points. And while he was off the floor, we lost by over 100 points. It was something insane like that. Yes.
How have I not heard? Oh, wait, I think I know what you're talking about now, yeah.
In that 7-game series with the Raptors last year. And so, we brought Al Horford in for that reason. Obviously, he's not starting, or he might not be starting in the playoffs, and Shake Milton's taking that spot at the point guard. So also a little side challenge to Shake Milton to step up and own this role and do it. But Al Horford's got to step up. If you're going to come off the bench, whether it be 10, 15, 20 minutes, man, fill that role, play well, be the playoff Al we brought you here to be. And we didn't bring Al Horford here for the regular season. We brought Al Horford to Philadelphia because he's a veteran, because he's a good player,
no, you guys
all-star
want to make
player,
like a Twin Tower type thing.
and we want him to be a presence in the playoffs, and so that would be my pick.
I mean, it would help a lot having 2 monsters in the paint, because if you think about that, if you guys had 2 monsters in the paint, your second chance of scoring increases drastically. Mm-hmm. Because when I look at these other teams besides Milwaukee, name a more taller team than them. If they had 2 monsters in the paint.
Oh yeah, there's not.
No, there's not.
Even even if Al's going to come off the bench, I mean, our lineup is huge. Our first 6-7 guys are huge. You got Ben Simmons 6'10", Josh Richardson 6'6".
He's 6'10", I thought he was 6'9".
6'10".
Oh.
Josh Richardson 6'6", Tobias Harris 6'9", Embiid over 7 foot, Al Horford 6'9", 6'10", Matisse Thybulle, who's been phenomenal, 6'7", somewhere in there, one of the best defensive players in the NBA already. Bless you.
All right, I'm good.
All right.
I might want to get tested after
Let's
that.
go check out some basketball games. Can you believe we finally get to watch basketball as a podcast?
Yeah, I mean, this is our really... Actually, this is kind of a new experience for us in general because we started during quarantine. I mean, we had the Jordan documentary for episode 1, which is entertaining. Go check that out, guys. But no, even just watching this game now, I'm actually very entertained.
Yeah.
Just because it's a good matchup.
It's cool. And now, moving forward, and we've made it happen. It's been good over the last 10 episodes, but this is you got to stop. This is a new
I'm telling you, go get tested.
This is a new feel for us. And in the next episode next week, we get to talk about 2, 3, 4 games and break down some intriguing matchups and check in on these standings as we push forward to the playoffs down in Orlando. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Leave a like, comment, and subscribe.
Yep. Contact us via email at Baseline Facetime Podcast at Gmail. Hit us up on Instagram at Baseline Facetime Podcast. And, give us a follow, give us a like. There'll be news, content, things like that. Hey, even if you would like to suggest a segment, suggest something you want to hear us talk about,
if you want to see Troy eat a glizzy.
Yeah, whatever it is, you let us know, and we'll be sure to make it happen. All right, thanks for being here.
See you guys.
We'll see you next week. Yo, guess what? You just tuned in to an episode of the Baseline Facetime Podcast, making you an official baseliner. We'll see you next time.